We've got a special guest with us, the executive director of FIEL Houston, Cesar Espinosa. Cesar, how you doing?
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here.
A little bit nervous, but we're good.
Oh, please, please. A DACA recipient yourself.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about, for those that don't know, how the program works.
So I was brought here at the age of 5 from Mexico City, Mexico. I've done my whole life here in Houston. I probably know Houston better than any other place in the world.
Right.
And did my school here, went to college here. In 2012, they announced the DACA program under President Obama. We were all happy, elated to see this program come to life after fighting for so many years. Unfortunately, here we are, more than a decade later, fighting to keep this program, who has helped so many of us out, come out of the shadows, get driver's license, be able to finish school, et cetera, et cetera.
And essentially, what that did was allow you to stay in this country. It didn't change the legal status, though, but it basically said, look, you're going to be okay. You can work, you can live your life, and don't worry about it.
Yeah, so a lot of people have a misconception of what DACA actually did. DACA, the only thing that DACA said is we promise not to deport you 2 years at a time. So every 2 years, we have to pay to get into the system. We have to go through the background check. We have to do all of that just to be able to be guaranteed the promise that we're not going to be deported back 2 years at a time.
Do DACA recipients, during that time, does a certain portion of them go for citizenship or some other legal status? I mean, I'm sure it's a long process.
There's a chart that we actually show, which shows like maybe 200 pathways that people can get, which many of them are, unfortunately, we're blocked for. For example, in my case, there's no other way that I can apply unless it's through marriage. And so it's you know, it would take about 4 hours to explain that part, but basically DACA does not offer a path towards citizenship. People may have other options, but the program itself does not really offer us a path to say, okay, now I'm ready to become a resident and then eventually gain citizenship.
So what about this ruling? I mean, what do we expect to hear in court, and what happens after today?
Well, today's going to be very anticlimactic. What it happens today is basically our attorneys and the state attorneys led by the state of Texas are going to argue the case on DACA. And both sides will have a chance to state their point, and then Judge Hannon, who's the judge in charge of this case, we don't expect a decision from him today. We expect the decision to come weeks or months after today. And then we go back to the courts, Fifth Circuit, and then eventually the Supreme Court.
Just one more ruling on the way to the Supreme Court. Texas argues the DACA program siphons tax money from citizens. And what's your guys' argument to that?
I mean, we have multiple studies that have been done, the Pew Hispanic Center, the National Immigration Law Center, which say that immigrants pay into the system more than we get back. I myself worked for many years, filed taxes, have been continued to work almost the entirety of my life, and I don't get any federal benefits. I don't really get any benefits in terms of health care or insurance or anything like that. So unfortunately, people continue to use the immigration issue and the DACA issue to push their own political agendas, which is unfair to us.
Are you going back out for the rally later today?
We will be out in the rally later on today. We'll be there along the way in the Fifth Circuit and eventually in the Supreme Court, whatever it takes to make sure that we continue to offer a permanent solution for DACA recipients.
And we have heard from a lot of those recipients, in a sense, it's like living in fear as you sort of wait for this to get shaken out, because if the ruling goes the other way, they're like, well, am I going to get deported? Who knows, right? And living with your future up in the air is not a fun thing, I imagine.
Absolutely. I mean, and imagine people that are teachers and paramedics and doctors who are trying to live their normal lives, and then all of a sudden this could definitely uproot whatever future they have planned for themselves and their families.
Understood. Cesar Espinosa, Executive Director of FIEL. Thanks for coming in,
Thank you for having us.
Really appreciate it.